ProveXicans! ProveXicans! ProveXicans. Does it roll off the tongue? I don't know. Kind of sounds like PulseXicans or ProveX. It sounds like ProveXicans, but it does sound like ProveXicans. It sounds like PulseXicans. Oh, okay. Maybe getting it up is a real thing. Maybe getting it mixed up is a real thing. Could be. Anyways, excited for this one. Buckle in. If you're not from PulseChain, buckle in. If you're from PulseChain, should be fun as well. Welcome back to the show for the nth time. Fast Abdoul, how's it going fast?
Hey, Max. Thanks for having me on this auspicious occasion of the continuing ProveX sacrifice. I'm very excited.
Is your body ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Before we get into, we're going to go through all things ProveX sacrifice. Before we get to it, I want to know, what is this thing going to look like? I want to start off with that. What is it going to look like? Because I did a little mock-up here, me and my AI friend here, of how it actually works. We get into the details and all this stuff too. But what do you think the browser extension is going to look like?
I think it will, like the website, basically you're saying?
Well, I think I don't even know if there'll be a website. I think there'll just be a browser extension like MetaMask. It's kind of like, you're on any website, whatever. Open MetaMask, okay. And then it'll just be like a little dialogue box of like, hey, I want to buy some stuff. Oh, I want to sell some stuff. Okay, cool. You click a button, tell how much, and it'll match your order. I think that's the frictionless ideal scenario though that everyone wants with this product.
Yeah. That could be cool. I never thought of that, to tell you the truth. I always pictured like a full website in my head. I'm sure there will be a website, but yeah, it could be just a pop-up browser extension type app, which should give it different utility than if it was a full website you had to dig through every time you want to use it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think it's going to be. So I basically did a bunch of deep research. Again, went through what we know publicly, trying to figure out what in the world is going to interface is going to be. I don't think it's going to be a website. I think it's going to be just the browser extension, just like MetaMask, and it's going to talk to the contracts. It's going to talk to the other services, and you just click through. It's going to be a P2P marketplace, but there's got to be that frictionless element. It can't be like, oh, I want to buy something. Let me scroll through and see what people are selling. Like that's the common person. They just want to not common, like anyone, right? I want to type in, I want to buy 1 million Pulse. And you match my order. There's like some sort of order book, some sort of like matching thing, and it just fills it. And you just tell me where to send the money, type of deal. Now that part, the only interesting thing I could see there is if there are multiple sellers. Yep, why'd that go away? If there are multiple sellers, then how do you send it to multiple Venmo accounts? Like, how does that? Do they aggregate them and like it generates it? It talks to Venmo and it's just like, give me one address and send it to these 5 people. I don't know if that's even possible, but it's got to be an easier way.
You put up $1 million, like $1 million in Pulse, and like 100 people buy that up, right? Like, does it have to be one transaction, or can it be 1 million transactions that nibble on your order, like we've seen on other OTCs?
Yeah. I mean, maybe there's been some. I think that's the hard part is probably whatever other OTCs do, it'll probably like whatever's been solved there. I say it'll look like that, but at the same time, that the new part here is getting the money, the ZK P2P thing, I think a Libera's flop type of deal, like the getting the money from A to B, where you have an address, you send it to with some of these services, and then you get it back in your wallet. How do you solve that when you have multiple? When you maybe say I want 1 million Pulse, but there's like 4 orders of 250K Pulse, and it's like, okay, I can get you 1 million Pulse. I got to go through these 4 orders. Do I literally have to send it to 4 different Venmo addresses, or can it just be like, I'm going to wrap it all in one, send it this thing, and
it would take your money and divide and like just have that happen in the back end? You probably wouldn't have to know about the details. It seems like something that could just be avoided by having it fill those orders with the amount of money that you put up.
Gotcha. Anyways, I want to wake everyone up and be like, this stuff is very, very cool, very interesting. I want to start off with a mock-up deal of what I think it's going to look like. Before we get into the
You should submit that. Richard was having a website contest for making a site. I think you could submit your app idea, just an extension idea. He'd probably like that. He's probably right now, of course, stealing all our good ideas.
Not a bad idea. Maybe I will take that and just add it as a link. I don't really care about winning the contest and stuff like that, but it'll be interesting to see if he actually looked at it, be like, that actually does make sense.
Indeed. Yeah. I'm much more interested in him finding good ideas if one of us can post them than, getting paid out for anything, right? There's a bigger picture here.
Exactly. Well, so again, since everyone's awake, and if you've been living under a rock, I think Fast Abdoul may be able to explain what in the world is going on between me and him. Our words together, and if you're watching this from another chain, welcome. If you're on PulseChain, welcome indeed. Hopefully we can onboard a lot of people and all that fun stuff. This is a show where we try not to be retarded and to say smart things and to actually be able to educate and help people learn and figure out what's going on. Then make a decision based on whatever you want to do, whether you sacrifice or not. But not being retarded is very important. So I'm going to stick to that. Serious. Fast Abdoul, as far as I know, not retarded. He's here. We're gonna work together and
let's do
some fun stuff. So ProveX, I'll drop this link in here as well. If you've been living under a rock, Richard Hart, like 1 week ago, announced ProveX sacrifice, and at the time we didn't know how much was going to actually sacrifice from it because the community during the bear market hasn't made a lot of multiples on at least the core tokens. So, and they've been waiting for a while to this mythical, and I kind of forgot what it looks like anymore, green candles and price performance. However, the man who's in it for glory will not stop, keeps doing products. And I do believe they will be glory at some point. And this one's got almost 2 million sacrificed so far. A lot of updates on the sacrifice. I got a few threads to go through on that. But what is ProveX? Now that you've had a look at the mockup and all that stuff, what is ProveX to you, and what is it? Why is it good for PulseChain? I feel like that's the most common question. Fast.
That's pretty good. I think at this point in time, how ProveX will be good for PulseChain is definitely speculation. And I think when it is good for PulseChain, which I think it probably will be, it will be because of speculation, right? I get the feeling that from things Richard said, that we're going to see a ProveX token possibly before the protocol itself is launched, which is totally doable. And that will lead to further speculation, a lot more speculation than if there was a protocol that launched along with it. And I think overall, that will probably be more bullish for price action than if it was immediately granted, sudden and immense utility. If that utility comes a little ways down the road, not too long, but, 1 to 3 months kind of thing, that gives you multiple news items. It gives you multiple layers of speculation. And I think it would give you multiple pumps in the price of the token. So, I think the fact that I think the token is going to be launched on PulseChain. And have you heard of Hart's Law, Max? Does that sound familiar?
I think somebody might have talked about it a couple times, and I've been listening in the background.
Something about bonded liquidity, where if like tokens are paired against each other, one pulls the other up or down, right? So if the ProveX token was launched on PulseChain and it did a whole bunch of X's and it was paired against Pulse and Hex and Ink and PulseX, it would do good things for the prices of those items. I know a guy who never sells that stuff, but he has a lot of it too that he could pair up with something to create really deep bonded liquidity if he wanted to. And, if that guy did something like that, and then the ProveX token did root very well, the other core tokens that I mentioned would also do quite well. It would draw attention, certainly. We're all talking about it, but I think there'll be other people talking about it. And it would draw interest from an outside audience, which is huge. We need to get out of the echo chamber. So I feel like the ProveX protocol is going to be a multi-chain endeavor, meaning that you're going to be able to send stuff from ETH, send stuff from Polygon, whatever, like probably any EVM, I would imagine, or all the big EVMs. But the home of the token probably is going to be on PulseChain. So with that in mind, I think it's going to, kind of be an all roads lead to PulseChain kind of thing. And people will be talking about it, and they'll be talking about ProveX, but they will find PulseChain. And then they're going to find Hex, they're going to find PulseX, they're going to find Ink, they're going to find all the different fun things we've built over here, a full thriving ecosystem with a giant community of crazy people, smart people, retarded people, the whole gamut.
The whole gambit indeed. I've seen everything on the spectrum of people on the great PulseChain. And boy, if
we got them all.
If and when we get the green candles, maybe there'll be so many more happy people on the PulseChain. Fast, you say, there's a sacrifice going on for this ProveX thing, and it may be good for PulseChain. How does one sacrifice? How do you do that?
Well, you can sacrifice directly to the wallet that you can take from a post from Richard Hart's profile with the assets that are allowed, which you can double check on the provex.info website. Or you can go to the provex.info website and you can sacrifice directly through there, which allows you options to sacrifice even from some non-EVM chains such as Solana, as well as Tron, I believe. Could be others. There's a very substantial list of tokens and assets. So on your screen there, like it shows you the chain, and then you can click on that chain, and then it shows you the full list of tokens. But there it is. Yeah, you can just sacrifice right to that address directly. You don't have to interact with the website unless you're touching one of those non-EVM ones. Which honestly, guys, just like, don't send it from Solana. It just sounds like a make work project to me. Just it's easy to move from Solana to Ethereum or Tron to Ethereum. Send it from Ethereum. That'll be fine. You can also sacrifice from PulseChain, but you cannot sacrifice any PulseChain core tokens, which is an item of huge contention, as I'm sure you know, Max. But you can do USDC, DAI, WETH, and USDT as well as Rep Bitcoin, WBTC, all bridged from Ethereum to PulseChain, can be sacrificed on PulseChain.
Just real quick, I want to make it extra clear for everyone. You cannot sacrifice any PulseChain tokens that aren't listed here. You cannot sacrifice any of the core tokens. No Hex at all. I don't think you sacrifice Hex on Ethereum nor Hex on PulseChain. You can sacrifice only what it says here. Do not sacrifice anything else other than what it says here. Don't go on what you think or what you feel or what you heard. Look at this page. Understand before you sacrifice. Because people have done it, they're probably going to lose tokens. Don't do that.
Yep. If you're into points, and we are talking points because this is a sacrifice, it could there could be some sort of airdrop, I've heard. But yeah, if you're into points, you're going to get 0 points for your Hex, Pulse, PulseX, Ink, etc. on any chain. Don't do it.
So you mentioned EVM chains, and then I've got, so once you connect to wallet and stuff, you can see the address and the coins and all that. If you click on base, BSC, click on Solana, however, it's got a sign-in button, which I think, let's see what happens.
I think it's going to make you put in an EVM wallet address to get credited for that.
So it looks like,
I haven't done it myself, but
so if I click,
seems like the right way.
So there's a way, so it's, you all can't see it, but it's interacting with MetaMask, and it's asking to generate an address here. So again, I fast, unless you have specific knowledge on Solana and some of the other chains, I know we know about how to do Ethereum stuff. I mean, even if we haven't did it here already, it's kind of just like common knowledge and on how to do those. But just here, just an example, I've generated this. I have not sacrificed from Solana or any of these chains. I'm just clicking around, kind of seeing what happens when you do this stuff. But for me, it's like sign in, you click it, it connects to MetaMask. I don't know why my screen keeps going down.
Probably grabbing your wallet address. But like, it's cool that you can do it, but it doesn't mean you should. Just you can bridge your Solana tokens directly to Ethereum, and I believe they're even on the Ethereum sacrifice list. So yeah, just skip the non-EVM chains, people. Let's just keep it simple. We don't, of course, all problems would be fixed by the team as best they can, but the less complicated things are less likely to be problems.
That is good advice. If you are able to bridge it or send it or otherwise get around and if you know how to do that, getting on an EVM chain seems to make things easier. If you absolutely can't and you're familiar with Solana and you want to do it that way, the sacrifice pages has made that easy for you to do so as well. Arbitrum, Bitcoin. Yeah, I'm just curious. Clicking buttons here, generate address. Yeah, it generates an address. So that's a question I had too. Was so you generate an address. It must know because it's asking me because I had MetaMask, and it's like asking me to sign something and do these things. I think the way it works is that wallet, like whatever you connect to it, sign to it, all of that stuff, it's going to know that's the address to airdrop you your coins after it generates. It gives you that, like it lets you generate an address for Solana and Bitcoin. And then whatever you sacrifice from that, it maps that to the wallet that you've signed in and connected to. That's what I'm thinking happens. So that way you don't, because before I thought, oh, if you did it like that, you would have to manually give them the address to the wallet you want the points, the coin sent to, the points, all that stuff. But I think they've already made it even easier. They keep track of that because you signed in and then now you just generate an address and go. That's what it looks like if you
I've reached out to some people to verify that just now. So maybe we'll get an answer before the end of the stream with exactly what's happening there.
Yeah, my tech intuition is that's my best guess as of now with that, but by just like clicking around. Yeah, even Dogecoin, literally just go here, click, and it'll generate an address. And I wonder if there's these buttons. Let's see, signature required to confirm wallet ownership and keep your generated address private. Generated address remain completely private until you transfer funds to them. Once the transfer is detected, sacrifice data becomes publicly visible for transparent auditability. Okay. Okay, and then that doesn't really say how it works, but interesting.
We're going to find out for sure. Monero, that's another animal too, isn't it? Wow.
Yep.
They've been really thorough on this. They literally have almost every good thing except for PulseChain as far as the options for what you can send. Why do you think that is, Max?
I think they want people who are coming from other chains to make it very easy for them to get in the sacrifice, get points. And I mean, I'm not 100. I don't know. Can we be 100% certain the token's launching on PulseChain, the platform's launching to operate on PulseChain? I'm not sure if Richard explicitly said that, but like what I know, I've heard, maybe I've seen some theories around. Oh, it's going to do it on Ethereum. To me, it's 99% chance that all this happening on PulseChain.
I suspect so, but I think you're right. I don't think there has been nothing really sticks out in my head where he says only on PulseChain at the very least. But he also hasn't said not on PulseChain in regards to this. Litecoin, man, so thorough.
Remember Litecoin? That's what your neighbor has, right? Everyone's neighbor. That's what from your friend Somi. So I was like neighbor talking to him about Litecoin or something.
His neighbors must be more advanced than mine. My neighbors have like goats and bison and stuff.
There you go. All of our, when I say your neighbors, all of our neighbors have the Litecoin tokens. Just
one day you'll be able to buy a goat with PulseChain. Mark my words.
A single goat. One PLS equals one single goat. Plasma. I don't know what plasma is. I've heard of Hyperliquid. Mega ETH. Oh yeah, I heard of Mega ETH, but let's see. Stellar Lumen. Yeah, nobody remembers Stellar, do they? XLM. Was that airdropped to all the XRP holders back in the day?
Yeah, it was like a
correct me if you know that. Is that the one? Okay.
Or an XRP competitor, perhaps. I think it was that. I think that was it.
I'm not sure. It's been a while. Chat, tell us if you're a gray beard in crypto, if you've been in crypto more than 5 or 6 years, if you remember this stuff. Anyways.
So why do you think it is, Max, that no PulseChain tokens are accepted?
I don't think that I don't think the big guy running this wants you to give away your tokens. Doesn't want you to roll that into the next thing. He wants new holders of the tokens. Perhaps I suspect perhaps he believes if you hold those tokens, the price will go up madly in the gains to territory. That's what he hopes happens, and what a lot of
He
people
posted a quote the other day of somebody else's financial advice. He said, like a trader once said, a smart trader once said, or something like this, that yeah, if you never sell at a loss, then you never lose, or something to that effect. And I kind of felt like he was talking to us, sort of saying maybe you shouldn't sell your PulseChain tokens if you're not in profit, right? Which pretty much nobody is at the moment. So I took that as a message of now is not the time to sell. Obviously, some people are selling to go into the sacrifice. I think more people are selling because they think other people are going to sell to go into the sacrifice. But I think that will pass soon. We know that the sacrifice points ramp down after day 20 or 21 of the sacrifice from the date of start. At which point, I don't think many people are going to be selling any PulseChain tokens to go into the sacrifice. So we kind of have a date on the calendar. I'm not going to sell my PulseChain assets to go into this sacrifice. I may consider other things, but fresh fiat currency perhaps. But it seems like there could be something coming for PulseChain. Interesting thing of note is that if you want to pump anything on PulseChain, really, like any of the core tokens, you need to do it with tokens that are not the core tokens, right? Like you can't pump Hex with Pulse, you can't pump PulseX with Ink, because they all have bonded liquidity, right? Like one goes down, the other goes up, but it pulls the other one down with it. It's not efficient. The most efficient way to pump core tokens on PulseChain is to acquire tokens from other chains that can be turned into ETH or DAI, things that are extremely liquid but are not from PulseChain, where you're actually bridging in real value. That is where the math says is the best way to pump the chain. So it seems like whoever's running the sacrifice is trying to acquire tokens from other chains and not tokens from PulseChain, unless they're ones that can be bridged out and redeemed on another chain, meaning that they're hard new value on PulseChain. What do you think of that idea?
Everyone from PulseChain is probably going to like this conversation too, because we're going to get deep into some of these specifics and nuance. So I've listened to a lot of commentary. I try to be informed with all these different perspectives on it. And that's why there's a few things that are hard to square for this sacrifice. One is, I think the three biggest questions, maybe I'll frame it like this, three biggest questions, and I'll come back to this one because this is really interesting. Three biggest questions for this sacrifice is, why does it exist? Why have a sacrifice? Why not airdrop all this, blah, 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 all this stuff? That's what people are like thinking, right? Why have a sacrifice? Okay. If you do have a sacrifice, why don't you accept the core coins? That's like the next biggest question. Like everyone's like, oh, why not the core coins? Why can't I sacrifice them? That'd be great for our community, all this stuff. Yeah. And the third one is, okay, if you have a sacrifice and I can't do core coins, what is going to happen with the sacrifice funds? Which is kind of what you touched on of like, we could speculate that they could be just like what we speculate the other ones that got Tornado Cash to do on. It could somehow benefit the ecosystem. We have no expectations, but they somehow could benefit the ecosystem. They're not going to, they probably are going to be sold into a stable, into ETH, and maybe into PulseChain, whatever. But Richard hasn't live streamed. He's hinted about live streaming, or maybe we wanted to see live stream, and really it's going to be pre-recorded video.
Yeah, he never says live stream specifically when he's talking about it.
Not about himself. He said live stream about that other comment that everyone went crazy over, but like not about himself. Yeah. So if he doesn't want people from the community to sacrifice, and this maybe if this is a shakeout? Is this like the last shakeout of the shakeouts? Well, stuff.
Well, I think there's one more item we should add to this list, which is a point of contention of why is there a 3x whale multiplier, which is bigger than any previous sacrifice. I believe Pulse and PulseX were 2.5x whale multipliers, which was the biggest FUD item on those sacrifices, is that the big guys got more. And on this one, it's set up so the big guys get even more. It's almost like exactly what we didn't want to hear. I feel like Richard probably knew that.
I don't know. I feel like that's just like numerology or something. It's like, oh, just round it up to 3 this time. But I mean, to your like that's to why that number, but like to your point of like having the multiple at all, I think it's just too good game theory if you get people to participate. I think it's just it's just marketing. It's just like, hey, get in fast and participate with fresh capital or not core coins. To me, it's just, I didn't even think about like why. It's just like, to me, okay, yeah, okay. So tying this back, that's a good point. Tying this back into like the sacrifice itself. He hasn't live streamed. He may not live stream. He may just do a pre-recorded video. I think the interesting perspective I heard too is like maybe he doesn't want the community to get into it. He knows most people can't anyways because they may not have fresh capital or
they can't without selling core coins, which he's kind of implied isn't the play. So when there's like that big 3x bonus, it's kind of like it's meant for outside whales. People sitting in non-PulseChain assets in large amounts are the ones who would be most attracted to that 3x bonus.
I can't even think about selling core coins to get in. I can't even think about selling the core coins. Like that's not even a list of things to think about. Like why would I sell core coins to get into this? Like this is ProveX means it's going to be something one day, I think, but today it ain't not even a core coin. I mean, it's a core coin future, but it's like it's not my PLS, not taking the place of my hex, all that stuff. I don't have higher hopes for it than I do them, at least in the long run. But why is he not promoting this? Like, do you think he won't live stream literally because, like, do you think if he wanted to promote this, he would live stream? I feel like I can make a case he would live stream so more people would see him, not for us, but he would live stream. Of course, he talk about PulseChain and stuff, but he would live stream to see other communities see him, be like, oh, that guy's genius, but billionaire founder guy, he's pretty cool. Oh, whatever, and do that to get in. Or do you think he literally won't live stream because he doesn't want that many people to know about it or get in? And then, yeah, at the end of it, the last day, we see somebody sack a bunch and 99% supply like the previous one. Like, I don't feel like that's not going away. Like, why wouldn't that happen again? But those two things, I can't quite nail which one is more interesting about the live stream, the promotion, and the number of dollars can be sacked for this.
I feel that you're right in that, like, as far as the hustle to make it be a giant sacrifice, the biggest ever, Richard seems like he's kind of calling it in on this one, right? Like he's not trying that hard, and he wouldn't have to try that much harder to double, triple, quadruple the number, right? Like literally, like live streaming would be a part of it, but the nature of how it's promoted. And he's sure he drops the odd thing like, hey, look at this is interesting, but it's like it is not in a directed marketing technique that I know he understands. So it's like he wants some people to be aware. I think he wants us to promote it, probably, but he's not taking a very strong hand and promoting it himself in the same way that he did with Pulse and PulseX, as far as I can tell. Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, and that's what I can't understand either. Is it's not understands the right word. It's like there's all these different scenarios. Which ones could be more right? Which ones more likely, less likely? But why even have a sacrifice? Like I think it just decided like, okay, we got to have a sacrifice. But if we do have a sacrifice, no core coins, okay? So people can't roll over the old sack into the new sack and hope the price goes up and all that stuff. It's to attract new people. But if you don't promote it and it is an attempt to get the last shakeout, or is an attempt to shake out the last shakeout and get new people in, if you're not going to raise that much money, why is it just a formality? Is the sack just a formality? Like, hey, well, we got to do it because that's how we're going to distribute the tokens and the money. If we raise
$20 million formality, right? And like $10 million goes a long way on PulseChain. It's not
nothing. It's nothing compared to the $1 billion. It's nothing. Yeah. If it gets $50 million, it's a drop in the bucket compared to PulseChain. So what is he going to do with the extra $50 million?
I have some ideas.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not even thinking about like, oh, that's really going to make a dent in if it does pump the price or whatever. It's just like, you already got $1 billion. Like, why do you need 50 million more for that? That's why I'm like, this must be there. Is there some other angle? Is it literally just a shakeout to get new people in? What is
Well,
it?
this is something new to talk about, right? And like, with the new token, new liquidity, all those things, like in the starting price of who knows, you would think it might have something to do with the sacrifice, but maybe it doesn't. Like it could be a very easy token for him to show a win on for marketing purposes, particularly if a token drops before the protocol and it's just utter and complete speculation on what the price will do. You can bond that liquidity with PulseX, etc., and shoot it up 10,000x on day one potentially, and it will pull up the core coins with it as well. So like that's one angle. He makes this look good, then people flock to PulseChain. People are buying PulseChain, and then if he's going to pump PulseChain, he does it along with the masses coming in, right? But like we need something to get new users to look at PulseChain, to inspect PulseChain, to interact with our community. And this could be the thing, right? Like this, like ProveX, which sounds like it's going to be a cool protocol. It sounds like it will bring some real utility, but like the real value might just be as ProveX as a marketing tool, bringing in Solana bros who have an option to sacrifice directly, bringing in, guys on Ethereum who are looking for, different ways to onboard into crypto, period, all those things. Like those guys might end up on PulseChain just because of ProveX. And then if they're buying into PulseChain, they're not just buying ProveX, they have to buy Pulse. We know that. And that they may well be in other Richard Heart assets. Be like, wow, ProveX is up 100x. Like Hex is down today. I'm going to buy Hex. It seems like there'd be a natural transition where the new people from other chains who don't know anything about us probably, or very little, would FOMO into other RH tokens that were down on the day. And with the bonded liquidity, we can definitely all win on that. So yeah, ProveX could just be a marketing stunt that will have a real protocol behind it. I don't think he would not fulfill the promise, but the promise could be all about bringing attention to PulseChain.
I definitely think it's a win-win. It is easy marketing. You see clear utility in it, and it's like another thing and we're talking about it, right? Like it's good to get people excited or shaken out. If you're already in the community, if it's like, nope, I'm waiting around the price go up and now it didn't, and now a new sacrifice money thing, Richard's greedy or something. Again, you feel the way you want to feel, but I think there's something a little bit more to it, and I'm willing to stick around to see what do people need to know to. I mean, how should people think about if you're coming from Solana? I mean, there's people, I'm clicking on Solana here. There's $41,000. Somebody sacrificed a cool $1.54 right there. We also have $31,000. So there's people bringing in money from Solana to the sacrifice. What if let's say they are from the outside, they're new people. Then we may see a lot more of it, especially if we get a live stream or otherwise. What is most interesting for them to expect? They don't expect anything. Literally, the disclaimer is like, you're giving away the money, you may get some points, maybe sold, all that stuff. What would they look forward to getting these points? Like, are they joining a new network? Are they speculating?
What do you think we can speculate based on past sacrifices, like the people who got points for sacrificing funds for a political statement for the Pulse and PulseX sacrifice. They eventually received an airdrop that I feel could have been connected to those sacrifices, though I can't prove it. This is probably along those same lines, so that they have a chance to get in on moment one of a new token before anybody else. So yeah, it's pretty, and this is a new Richard Heart token, which is something that has happened for years, and it's pretty bullish. The big thing that is bullish to me as far as the token goes, I'm still most bullish on PulseChain core assets. I do think that's the main play here, that people shouldn't sell those to get into this, not financial advice. But as far as the ProveX sacrifice goes, if the sacrifice is very small compared to previous sacrifices, so like PulseX was $1 billion, I think PulseChain was 800 million or some, really big numbers. So if this is only, $5-10 million total sacrifice, that's a much lower market cap if that market cap translates to the value of the coin at all. So like it's something that's going to start way lower and have way fewer holders and probably thinner liquidity. So it could have some serious upside potential. So there's, a bullish case for people from other chains wanting to get in on that. And then the ones that do, and then do well, they're going to tell their friends like, oh, I just did 100x on PulseChain, come check it out. And if I was Richard and I was going to pump the chain like that, that might be the time that I did it, is when, I was sitting on, some extra funds from a sacrifice like this, as well as that other, $750 million, $1 billion that was kicking around. It could draw like all eyes to PulseChain, particularly if that was at a time where people were concerned about the price of the bigger assets like Ethereum and Bitcoin. They were going down. Everything's going down. If PulseChain was the only thing in the green, and ProveX was the belle of the ball for the day, the week, whenever it was, that would draw a lot of investment, I suspect.
Do we know the total, or any idea what the total supply is going to be? Have anyone did the math and like, oh, this is 39 billion. We get another huge set coming in later. It may go up, to some number. It looks like it's going to be in the hundreds of billions, maybe, or around $1 trillion.
Exactly. That's total points, and that's been growing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could just be a math equation if the points indeed do equal tokens in the future. Like, it could just be a math percentage. You have X percentage of the points, but I would think that the tokenomics of the token would have a set amount. It would be difficult to plan around tokenomics where the number of tokens varied based on the number of points. I would just take those points, and if it was me, and I would allocate a percentage of the whatever was going to sacrificers based on the number of points a person held.
Okay.
And not so tokenomics, maybe an even number that makes sense. Chances are.
So PulseX is in the trillions, and this token has the same tokenomics pretty much. Buy and burn, deflationary. Do you think it's going to be in the trillions?
It could be, but it doesn't really matter, right? Like, it's, there could be only one of them with 18 zeros behind it. Like, it's probably not the play, but like, it could be 1 billion, it could be 1 million, it could be 1 trillion or 10 trillion or 100 trillion. As long it's only the percentages that matter, like what percentage goes to the sacrificer, like how much total liquidity there is, things of that nature.
And so we got exactly 15 days, 14 minutes, 28 seconds left before the rate increases. Can you explain for people simply what this is and what they need to pay attention to?
Yeah. So the bottom line is, I believe it was the first 20 days you get the best rate, which is 10,000 points per dollar. And then after that, it goes down substantially. At the end, at the very last day, I believe you get 10,000 points per $10 is the final price on January 9th. So it's like you're walking up the stairs to less of a good deal, like in terms of points, if you're into points between now and January 9th.
Well, you definitely should be into points if you're participating, because that is your rate. You're getting a terrible, terrible, terrible rate compared to what you can get now. So getting in, it's the get in. What is it? What is the mental model? Must act now. What is the sales marketing thing? Something like that. FOMO. Yeah, it's like another way of saying FOMO. It's like act now marketing of like, okay,
we can turn this into an infomercial. But wait, there's more. If you get in now, you get 10 times more points than people who get in 48 days from now.
That's crazy.
Huge difference.
Yeah. So sooner the better. And so the key dates are, if you're going to participate, the most amount of points is by the 2nd of December. Yep. Is that correct? Yeah. 2nd December.
Yeah, there's a cutoff there. I believe the website reflects the time zone of the person who's looking at it. So be careful if you have a VPN on, but that's, I think, what you're seeing there, which is a different time than what I see when I look at it.
Gotcha.
It's probably set to UTC time, I would think. Probably switching on 12 UTC or something like that.
It's just looking at the time for, no, it's set to local time. Yeah, so that would be the start. Yeah, 59 seconds, because it would be 12 minutes from now, which would be Pacific time would be 50, yeah, whatever, 15, 50, 59, 59. That looks accurate. So yeah, local time, like you said. But yeah, if you're on a VPN or something, that's a good call. Like maybe it'll read something different. I don't know. Would the VPN change your browser? It depends on what kind of VPN, maybe. But
if your VPN makes it think you're in another country, it would. I would think. Mine usually does.
That's a good question.
But if that's my intent, anyway. But regardless, like, just don't wait to the last minute, and you don't have to worry about it. Like, that's another complication you could just avoid by sacrificing before the last day, and not worrying about the last when your last 10 seconds is that you can press the send button.
15 days. So we've went how many? 7 days? 7 days? 8 days? It's been 1 week now, right?
There. Yeah, about a weekend.
So 1 week, $2 million. How much you think what's your prediction? Do you have a prediction or speculation for the final dollar amount?
I would put the final number somewhere around $30 million.
I could go with that. I feel like 30 million.
I don't think it could certainly be lower. Like, it could be 10, right? Like, it's going to go up from today, obviously, but like, I don't think we're going to see $100 million, and it's not going to come anywhere close to $1 billion. Of course, there's a wild card of if the OA account or something like it decides to put in funds, of course, which is, in my opinion, bullish, because in the past, the things that have done that in sacrifices have not sold the tokens they received. So, it just takes them off the market effectively. So that could be overall bullish for the price of the token. But without the OA moving in, $50 million, I think $30 million max. So we're talking, we're talking a fraction of, like 3% of the PulseX sacrifice, basically, right?
So, but what would let's say the last day or the last day before rate goes up, we'll say there's 30 million in there. They would put what, 25 million they're going to get 90% of the supply. They put some number.
I'd be surprised if they participated on that day. If the OA is going to participate, I think it would be further in the process. Because the moment the OA participates, it kind of signals an end. Not as many other players would likely jump in. A lot of that is just likely about making something with a high market cap, which we've kind of seen with the other tokens. Like, the OA holds a lot of tokens, doesn't sell them. They kind of don't count in the market cap, but it is counted. So I think that could be a big part of what why that would happen. But I'd be surprised if it would happen in the first 20 days here. I think it would happen more towards the end. If you think about it, like, the OA puts in whatever stupid number, $100 million of ETH into the sacrifice, and that amount of those funds return to the OA eventually, or immediately, perhaps. Like, it doesn't really matter what day the OA sacrifices. It could be on any day, because it makes no difference to the total amount of value in points that the OA could acquire if it wanted to. So I imagine there's just a number, and that's the number it's going to hit. And it probably won't be in the first 20 days. It would be, on day 53, perhaps. Like, it could be the very, very end. It could be the last day.
But if they do it, I know we'll wrap up on this. I know it's just fun speculation, and nuance in this ecosystem. But if they did want to get 90%, so they would 70, 80, 90% of the supply. If we get to 30 million, just user participation, then with theirs counted, would that be 80, 90, 100 million? Like, would we see the final numbers being over 100 million with the OA?
So if they wanted to get 90% of the supply?
Yeah, I haven't did the math. I'm just throwing it out there. You doing the math? He's doing the math. They're telling me he's doing the math.
They would,
if they were to get 90 instead of like half or otherwise.
Believe they'd have to put in 333 million.
Oh wow!
Would give them 90%.
Wow!
If there was 30 million in there that wasn't out from the OA, and the OA put in 333 million approximately, or it's actually 33333 all the way to the end.
I guess so.
That would give them about 90%.
Wow. So that makes me think they're not going to. That would be a compelling case to be like, why would they take, because they can't sacrifice Pulse and PulseX and core tokens. So that's got to be fresh capital. Like, why would they roll? And we could speculate that would come from the previous sacrifice of selling that. Why would they put, of the $700 billion, why would they put a third of that of real money?
Because if it goes back to the same place, it doesn't really matter, right? It's just like in one door, out the other door.
I guess you'd have to be okay. So that would mean,
like, let's say the money's still in ETH, which it could be, right? As far as we know, like the sack bags, the $750 million that disappeared could still be sitting in ETH. ETH could be sacrificed to, via the website, via the address, and then that ETH could end up back in, the same hands. Is quite for other purposes on chain. It seems quite possible. So we saw similar things in previous sacrifices. So, and with that in mind, like, it's like it could even be sent more than once, perhaps. So there'd be many ways to do it. It's literally just math without any consequences for the OA if the OA chooses to do that.
I gotcha. Yeah. I was thinking of a different piece, but no, that makes more sense. Of like, they would want, if they want to get the supply, it would go back in the same hand. So it would just be easy way to get the
PulseChain assets to do it. That's different, right? But we know that's not the case. Quite likely, they have not PulseChain assets, and they could just move it in, and it could end up in the OA account, right? We could have a new wallet to watch, right? Like, because
until it gets tornado cashed again. Until it gets immediately tornado cash this time, not waiting 3 years. No, I was thinking of like
come in from 1,000 different wallets that we can't track back to anywhere, right? Be like, oh, $3,000 here, $2,000 here. Who knows who that is? Like, it could be a completely different equation. It could be part of the entire system of mixing up that initial sack wallet, so nobody knows what it is. It's completely possible.
Well, my first thought, I was thinking of, okay, I guess it depends on what you believe, what you speculate the OA would do with the previous funds too, because if you think it's going to go into the chart, that's one thing. If you think it's going to go into marketing, you think it's just going to get rolled into another blockchain transaction where you still control it. I guess that probably makes the most sense based on previous pieces too.
Let's talk marketing, because recently the OA posted a contest for marketing, and they didn't specifically say ProveX in the contest, I don't believe. So that was what most people geared their responses to. But it was like a $5,000 contest to have the best marketing ideas. And most people thought it was about ProveX, and they did that. But it said that if there were millions of dollars being spent on this marketing project, what do you think the best plan is, or something to that effect? So how many millions? The number of millions could be equal to the sacrifice. Like, what if ProveX gets $30 million in sacrifice and $30 million is spent on marketing? It would be, a net neutral for the person or people or entity that launched it. Of course, there's the cost of dev work, et cetera, but it's usually not what. It won't be $30 million. I'll just say that. It's not going to cost $30 million to make it. But $30 million would do a hell of a job marketing it. That's for sure. I would hope that whoever makes those decisions doesn't spend all the money in one place. That could be a very, very big marketing campaign that the entire world of crypto would know about. So, but if there's only $5 million in the sacrifice, which is also possible, maybe the budget is $5 million. I wouldn't be surprised if there was a correlation between the sacrifice and the marketing budget. Could be a thing.
5 million plus 90 or 100 million, right? If there was another sack from the OA, so it could just be like that contribution could count in it too, or just the user.
And the marketing he was talking about, like in that, here I'll drop you this. You can we can look for language. Like, it doesn't say ProveX specifically. So that marketing, like if the ProveX sacrifice goes towards marketing, it could be marketing all of PulseChain. Seems quite possible.
I'll bring it up in just a second. Before we move on to that one too, I just want to make sure anyone have any questions, put them in the chat. We're gonna wrap up here in a few minutes. But ProveX sacrifice, we get a volume bonus multiplier of up to 3x. Make sure you understand how it works. You click this little thing, click how it works. Look at this, put your little cursor, go up and down. You can see the different pieces here, the time, the target changes, all those things. So make sure you click around. I know some of the information is kind of like you got to click on drop downs and stuff to get to it, but be well informed. Click the disclaimer at the bottom of the page, scroll down. I would actually read it. I haven't read it yet, but I'm going to read it too, because it actually looks interesting. Actually at the end of it, let me read this real quick. I saw something about, okay. Very interesting disclaimer. We'll read that sometime. That'll be fun. Okay. And then let me share this. So yeah, be very, very informed. Click on everything on the website to make sure you know what you're doing. $5,000 prize. Winner selected 8 hours. If you put $1 million in market, where would you put it? Yes, all your ideas are probably going to suck. But hey, maybe there's a good one. Probably not though. Lol. LOL. Operated and paid for by anonymous donor. You got some healthy chips there. Some kind of corn chips. Some kind of rice chips. I'm not sure. So
Doritos, man.
Is it Doritos? I thought it was like not Doritos. I know it's supposed to look like Doritos, but I thought it was. I was going with the contrarian. Anyways. What happened? Somebody win?
So far he's only picked the second prize, which he says is $2,500 for fun, which went to Johnny Chaos for his idea of selling the marketing tablets on Amazon for cheap, like super cheap, to just create some online marketing with the way the bots and stuff work on Amazon, where there's tracking and it keeps showing stuff to you, which is Johnny mentioned this a month or more ago. And it is a good idea. So I don't believe Richard's selected the top prize yet. Maybe he won't. I don't know. Yeah, Johnny has confirmed that he has received his $2,500 in Pulse, I believe. He seemed pleased. And yeah, but
cannot sacrifice it. And I was gonna be in Pulse. It's like, what if you sent in anything else? You could roll that into sacrifice, but now if you wanted to, you'd have to sell the Pulse.
That doesn't seem to be the message. It doesn't seem to be what Richard's saying on the blockchain there. But yeah, like like up top it says that he's looking for marketing ideas. It doesn't say anything about ProveX specifically, though almost every idea went over ProveX as a concept. So we'll see what happens there. And if he says it looks like he missed an S. If you were putting million of dollars, it's supposed to be millions, so it's more than $1 million. It probably which could be correlating with that SAC amount. So maybe the ProveX sacrifice is the not just ProveX but PulseChain marketing budget. That would be cool. And if that is the case, I hope the thing goes to $100 million, as long as people aren't selling core assets to do that. More the merrier, because yeah, we could use $100 million to market PulseChain. That would be just fine.
I think if I won the prize, I would just want to roll it into sacrifice. Can I just roll it into points? Can I just get points? But if you're getting paid in the core coins, then I'm like, oh no, I don't want to sell the core coins. But anyways.
Well, I think that could be the message is like, oh, you did a good job. Here's some core tokens, something that Richard feels is valuable. I don't think the message is here's some core tokens, please sell them to go into the sacrifice. It doesn't seem intuitive to me.
Here's some core tokens. I have plenty of them. Here you go. May not be the one. Apparently, same sacrifice time the 10 ETH ProveX just now. So yeah, that's something that Martin was watching too. I noticed something interesting about the ProveX leaderboard. Number 2 spot coming from Massive Well. Sacrificed 10 ETH a couple hours ago. Take a closer look. Looks like the wallet provided liquidity in Ethereum, holding 31 wrapped Bitcoin, $7 million. Talks about LP positions a little bit. So anyways, it seemed like a well to sacrificing for ProveX, and they just sacrificed another 10 ETH now. So got some wells, got some maybe new wells in the ProveX as well. And then yeah, you got interesting piece. Well, it'll be interesting to see all the what the final values are. If we get any $1 million entries, as far as that goes, who ends up being, like top, top 10,
So that's
top 5,
the
all that stuff.
leaderboard we're looking at there, right?
Yeah.
So 2.83x for the top wallet. So I believe I know what that wallet is.
And there's pools this time.
So Buck and the PH boys are running a sacrifice pool, which if you're for the uninitiated, that means people pool their money together to get a better volume bonus. So if you're only putting in $1,000 and some whale is putting in $1 million, he's going to get a better volume bonus than you. His break-even price is much lower than yours, potentially 3 times lower than yours. We saw this with the PulseChain and PulseX sacrifices. So the running a pool where little guys can go together and basically sacrifice like a whale is the concept. I'm not saying you have to do this. It certainly may violate some principles of PulseChain crypto, like not your keys, not your coins sort of thing. However, you're sacrificing anyway. You should have no expectations. But if you're into points, by the math, this is a way potentially to get more points. But DYOR, BYOB. This is something you need to understand before you participate. But it's something I'm looking at closely, and I do trust that team. They've been around for a long time. They've had many opportunities to steal millions and millions of dollars and have not done so. So it is a consideration if you're planning on sacrificing. And they accept all the. They're not. The last time I read, they weren't accepting the non-EVM tokens, but they were accepting all EVM tokens that are accepted on the sacrifice page. And I think every 5 minutes, anything sent to their pool gets pushed to the actual sacrifice wallet, which is what we saw on the leaderboard there.
ETH Fair, ETHW accepted?
Excuse me?
ETH Fair, ETHW accepted?
EVM they were suspiciously absent from the sacrifice list. But the sad thing is, Max, even if they were accepted, Hex on ETHW or Hex on ETH Fair would probably not be accepted. So yeah, there is no Richard Hart assets on any chain that you can sacrifice.
Interesting. Yeah. The ETH Fair,
the things that are on there are very liquid. I noticed, like, if you pick any one of the tokens listed on there, there's a lot of tokens, but they're all pretty liquid. They could all be turned into ETH or into DAI pretty easily with minimal slippage. That probably is a big part of that selection list.
I like the PulseChain. Came up with this meme. PulseChain's going 10,000x. Changed my mind. And what do you know? Got a funny one here. PulseChain is going to negative 99%. Changed my mind. I like that one. See if it's funny. There's plenty of comments that aren't funny from time to time, but if it's funny, it's funny.
FUD is acceptable. If you're gonna do FUD, make it funny, people. So that's cheers to the guy who did that, because at least it's entertaining. If it's just like angry guys shouting, it's lame.
Yeah, I mean, it's only you can see 10,000 chain sucks going down. All of you are dumb. Cult, name the greatest hits. But if you get a meme that's funny, it's funny.
Yeah, I know the reason for the difference between, like, the odd person like that who's a fudder can make it funny, and most of them can't. It's there's kind of an IQ requirement for making things funny. It's there's just kind of an edge that smarter people have where they can make FUD funny, and dumb people just shout. So yeah, be smart, people.
Be smart, people. I like it. Again, everyone, going back to the beginning. Remember I woke you up? I'm going to see if you're awake again. People who tuned in after the first 5 minutes of the stream did not see this, and now they get to see what I think could possibly the ProveX browser extension look like with or without a website. This is what it could look like based on the information we have. This is me and the AI being like, here's what it could look like based on the information. I was like, you better get that logo right. It did get the logo right the first time, but you better get that logo, remove the background, make that a beautiful logo, and then make it look like a thing. And it made it look like a thing. And there we are.
Not bad.
I think it was pretty good. It's pretty good. Got a couple questions. I will answer them. We're going to wrap up soon. Let's see. Mike says, bro, you're going to sack tomorrow. All-time low on PulseChain. Better. Sure, he meant PulseChain, but PulseChain sounds funny too. Better to buy a new bag. Better to buy a new bag, or are you going to sack tomorrow? I'm not sure what's the better to buy a new bag.
We're saying, is it better to buy more Pulse rather than sack, right? Like if you're sitting in $10,000 in stables and you saw that, okay, I could sacrifice the $10,000 in stables, or I could buy a PulseChain at like really good prices, which I feel like we're seeing right now. That, that becomes a very reasonable question. Personally, if it was me, I would probably look at moderation. I'd be like, okay, there's these known assets that are on sale. Maybe I go, 90% or 80% into the known assets and then 20% into the unknown asset. And, that seems like a good formula to be able to sleep at night versus skipping the thing that is the known asset and just going for the unknown, just hopium only, which, is kind of where we're at with the ProveX, whereas PulseChain's, tried, tested, and true. And I believe there will be a pump coming, likely connected to ProveX. But as far as the ProveX token goes, like we have no idea how those points could turn into tokens or not. We don't know what the percentages are that will go to the sacrificers. Could be 100% of the tokens, could be 1% of the tokens. It's, all those details have not been revealed. Even the exact details of what the protocol is and what it will do have not been revealed. So it is very much a lottery ticket versus what I see, in my opinion, as a sure thing. But why not do a little bit of both in one way or another? But selling core assets to buy a lottery ticket at right before what I feel is going to be, the final shakeout. And unfortunately, I do think there's a shakeout element to this. Like, Richard said and did things that he knew people wouldn't like. He ripped the Band-Aid off. He did it in a way where he knew there'd be a reaction. So it's like, and it did shake some people out. It made some people sad. So, but if it's a shakeout, what is the play?
Wish everyone the maddest of gains. If you're still here or not, hopefully whatever chain you're on, you get some good stuff. Putting you on the clock, fast Abdoul, 30 seconds or less. ProveX is a waste of time. Can you change his mind?
30 seconds less. ProveX is a waste of time. That remains to be seen, sir. ProveX has potential to be something amazing by price performance, if not by the actual protocol. It's, being the founder is a billionaire. So what he could do with it is extremely substantial. We can see online he's asking for community endorsement and help with things like making cool websites with marketing plans that could have millions of dollars go towards them, quoting what he said. So ProveX may or may not be the best thing on PulseChain, but it won't be nothing.
Well done. Well done.
Hey.
Look into ZK P2P for clues how it might work. Yes, that is some secret sauce. I think it will be either related or upgrade or something to do with ZK P2P. They got some stuff figured out over there. Anyone know the tokens plot ProveX? I'm guessing trillions. I'm going to go with, to me, the most obvious, or the most, not obvious, but like the most likely is it's got the same tokenomics as ProveX. I'm sorry, as Pulse. I did it again. It's got the same tokenomics as PulseX. So supply probably will rhyme with it.
Yep. It'll be an even number. It's not going to be a silly number. It'll be something that people can understand. 1 trillion, 10 trillion, 1 billion. It'd be interesting if it was a smaller number, though. You could, like, if we had a token on PulseChain that was traded at $300, right, or more. That would actually be pretty interesting in its way. You could have lots of decimal points, right? 18 decimal points behind it, but that would be an interesting concept if there were only 1 million ProveX tokens and the starting price was $35 and it went up to $400 in the first day or something like that. That'd be cool.
Actually, be PulseChain. I know the PulseX sack was over $1 billion and much longer time than the Pulse sack. Do y'all know how much the Pulse sack earned?
Doesn't it? like this sacrifice period for ProveX seems short. Do you remember that? Like, do you remember the timelines on Pulse and PulseX? Pulse was fairly short.
It was, well, PulseX was definitely long. I remember that. It's like people months later were just sacking a little bit. Yeah. PulseX, I'm going to guess PulseChain was, would it start in July until September, maybe October, maybe. And then PulseX started January, I want to say. And then went to like the summer or something like that. Like they were still at least acknowledging that.
Long time.
Yeah. And this is, that's something we really didn't cover either. 60 days for this one? 60 days total?
Yep, right about there.
Yeah.
At a very auspicious time in the market too, right? Like we're moving, like it's like the fourth quarter. Everybody's freaking out about everything. It's bullish, bearish, depending on the day. Like it's a very intense time in the market to do this sort of thing. I think it's going to get a reaction. It's definitely not going to be nothing. It's going to be something to watch at the very least. But the option of buying it on the first day, which if it was on PulseChain, you could use PulseChain assets to do. I think that's another valid choice that people should consider, right? Like you don't have to sacrifice to get this token. You could just buy it when it comes out. That's cool too.
Yeah, I don't know how much exactly the SEC earned. I want to say for some reason 600 million, 700 million come to mind for PulseChain, and then PulseX was around $1 billion. That's what comes to mind.
I think around 700 for PulseChain and $1 billion for PulseX is the big number.
Gotcha. Stream volatility. What if the OA injected some of the SAC funds into PulseX and then sent it to the burn address? It would remove more sell pressure. How would that remove more sell pressure? Not following.
Well, if the OA bought PulseX and then
be like giving the money away so people don't have any more to sell,
and then burnt those tokens. But in the past, the OA has bought tokens and then just not sold those tokens. I think that's the more likely thing that we would see rather than it going to a burn address. So, but like, and that could even be, and we know that with ProveX, there's also a buy and burn, right? Like a 1% buy and burn on the fees to use the protocol. So a similar concept to PulseX. But I don't think doing that would create any special magic apart from price go up.
Yeah, more sell pressure. Maybe there's something there, but see those questions too. They're good to riff with the AI. Give us some context. If you're using a good AI, you can be like, "Oh, what happens if this?" Or tell me some bullish scenarios for this. Or here, what would happen here? What do you think? Like that's if you give us some good context, because it doesn't know everything. It doesn't have all this nuance that we have. Like not everyone has like fleshed it out. It doesn't have all the transcripts of everyone yet, which could be interesting. I guess if you had the transcripts of every video on game theory, that would be helpful too, or a lot of them, but that's some good stuff to riff on too. All right, last question. We just have a question fast for staking protocols on the ink printer and earn, etc. Has there been any previous data on how much people have earned in fees for the use case of the protocol?
That it's a little bit tricky with those because when you stake the protocol token, the fees are determined by people using the protocol. So in the case of and this goes for any of the liquidity forks we currently have. So when you stake the earn, flex, loan, or print token, you're getting a piece of every dollar that's minted, and you're getting a piece of the collateral asset anytime a dollar is redeemed. So it very much depends on that action, right? It's it's not consistent. Now, the other staking option on all those protocols is staking the stablecoin itself, right? And those get paid out in two different ways. One way is they get a drip of the protocol token. So with Ink Printer, it's that I have on my screen, the APR on single-sided staking for stablecoins right now is 27%, and that's in the print token. However, when you're staking the stablecoins on any of these liquidity forks, you also get a piece of the liquidations, right? So if there's a liquidation, which on Ink Printer obviously would have something to do with ink, you would get some of that ink, and it would, in return for some of your dollars you stake, but the math makes it work out better for you. So that 27% is sort of like the minimum APR. If there's a liquidation, your APR would be higher. So that's easier to calculate than staking the print token or loan or flex or earn token, because it's there is a continuous drip of the protocol token there that can be measured into an APR. But I would say, just from my experience, that some days the APRs would be calculated in the hundreds for staking the protocol tokens, and some days they would be zero, right? So it can be a huge range. When these protocols first launched, the first 3 months, the APRs are extremely high as people move in, right? Because they tend to load up. Like people are like, oh, I can take a loan against my Pulse or my Hex or whatever the thing is. So when they first come out, the first week, the first month, and probably extending into 3 months, you have people moving in with their assets, their collateral item into the protocol, which is where the most fees are generated. And then it tends to get slower. But I see big bumps from time to time when things are happening in the market. People would like, if you want to long ink printer is the place where you can long ink, almost the only place actually, where you can borrow against your ink, basically. So if the price of ink is low, sometimes a bunch of people mint the stable coin to buy more ink, and then that generates lots of fees, of course. And sometimes it's in reverse, where the price goes down, and then people are selling those stable coins to pay off the assets or redeeming those stable coins, and then you're getting paid in ink to be a staker. So it's definitely has something to do with market action. When we see a big pump, like let's say what the price of ink went from what it is now, which is not very awesome, at 83 cents. About 86 cents. Let's say that went up to $400, right? Like there was a
$1,000.
Yeah, that's right. I don't want to FUD it. $1,000. You would see the TVL of the protocol go up 1,000 times as well, right? So we'd go from around $3 million right now to like $30 million. It'd be a substantial difference, $300 million. But the bottom line would be that then more people would be likely taking out loans against that higher value asset. So yeah, big changes in the market affect that and how many people participate. But yeah, there's no way to give you an exact APR on the staking tokens for any liquidity fork I know
of. All right. The building continues. Appreciate you building on the PulseChain, Mr. Abdoul.
I'm still building.
Building hard. A lot of people are. A lot of just new amazing services. A lot of just bullish things just keep happening over and over for the last few months. It's almost like a signal that if you believe and you stick around and you're able to do that, then good things may come. I know we've been saying that for 2 more weeks. We said it 2 weeks ago.
The same people keep coming back, right? Like we have some builders that have been around since day one who are still building on PulseChain, right? So
and some builders have been around since day one haven't heard from for a while, except sporadically, like Alex from Hedron. And there's new products we haven't even seen yet either. So
yep, he's been talking lately, yeah. And I think when the market conditions improve, I think we'll see a slew of new builders, probably brand new ones coming, like ones coming back that were here before, and ones from other chains who've never been here will probably bridge over and start building on PulseChain. Because a lot of builders will go where the action is, and I think PulseChain will have its day in the sun. We're going to see some action.
I'm excited to see I want to see the first builders who come over protocols of ProveX. Like, I sacrificed for ProveX. I'm from Cardano. I sacrificed for ProveX, and now I'm going to build this product in PulseChain. That's going to be cool.
I bet you ProveX is something that could be built on top of. I have it in my head that it would make good collateral for a stablecoin. That could be a thing. I know this guy who's building a multi-collateral liquidity fork that's upgradable, and he could add ProveX as one of the collateral types.
I know a non-slow guy who may be interested in that. Sure. Never know. Fast Abdoul, everyone. Where can people find out more about you and your building?
I could be found on X under Fast Abdoul, which I will change my name right now so people can see it. I will not DM you. There's lots of scam versions of Fast Abdoul on Telegram and other places. So I won't send you a private message. If you contact me, that's fine, but I will not initiate contact. All DMs are scams. My newest website is vault369.com. Details on my new project there. And I have other projects, inkprinter.com, that's incprinter.com, and 2phux.io. Those are still going concerns that have improvements and are still being built on top of. So my plate's pretty full.
Yeah, I bet. All right, everyone. Sorry, that's all we got time for today. Scivive 5555. We are out.